Welcome to Spiritual Crypto, the channel to help you understand the spiritual aspect of crypto and money, giving you the insight to succeed in the cryptoverse. In this video, I will reveal some secrets about the modern banking system that the globalist bankers do not want you to know. Once you understand these secrets, you will know how inflation can destroy the economy. In addition, you will know how certain cryptocurrencies, such as Bitcoin, can reduce inflation to nearly zero. To understand inflation better, let us explore how it works by reading some paragraphs from my book, The Love of Money is Evil. In communication, money and currency are often used interchangeably. However, there is a difference between them. Money and currency are similar because they can serve as a medium of exchange and are interchangeable, where each unit is the same as the next. In addition, they are a unit of account, portable, durable, and divisible, meaning that they can be exchanged for smaller denominations. But unlike currency, money is a store of value over a long period of time. Money such as gold and silver is better at storing value than currency because it is limited in supply and cannot be duplicated easily. Gold and silver are the safest forms of money because they have maintained their value for thousands of years. This is why during an economic crisis, banks always hoard them, especially gold. Strictly speaking, any money that can be duplicated easily is not really money because it does a poor job of storing value. The more money is duplicated, the more its purchasing power decreases, causing inflation and economic crisis. An important word we need to know its deeper meaning is inflation. One of the definitions of inflation is a general increase in prices coinciding with a fall in the real value of money. Another of its definition is a persistent, substantial rise in the general level of prices related to an increase in the volume of money and resulting in the loss of value of currency. Put simply, as more currency is injected into the economy, its worth diminishes, resulting in the loss of value, which in turn causes prices to increase. In simple words, inflation is an expansion of the currency supply, and rising prices are merely the symptom. Upon closer examination, inflation is a hidden tax on the people. It is inexpensive for central banks to inject currency into the economy. However, the consequences are far costlier for individuals. Inflation erodes their savings, resulting in a significant loss of currency and wealth. This is how central banks steal people's currency and wealth without their knowledge. Take note that the main cause of inflation is an expansion of the money supply. Today, banks inject more currency into the economy through the fractional reserve banking system. Let us read some more paragraphs from my book to learn how fractional reserve banking works. Fractional reserve banking is a system in which only a fraction of bank deposits are required to be available for withdrawal. Banks only need to keep a specific amount of cash on hand and can create loans from the money you deposit. Fractional reserve work to expand the economy by freeing capital for lending. Today, most economies' financial systems use fractional reserve banking. It is important to know that fractional reserve banking empowers banks to create loans using the currency that customers deposit in their banking accounts. This type of banking allows banks to reserve only a fraction of customers' deposits, hence the term fractional reserve banking. The fractional reserve ratios can vary, ranging from 10% to as low as 1% or less. A bank operating with a 10% fractional reserve ratio is allowed to reserve 10% of customers' deposits and loan 90% of the remaining deposits. For example, if a customer deposits $100, the bank can legally loan $90 of that amount without notifying the customer, leaving only $10 in the customer's account. To create the illusion that the account still has $100, the bank substitutes the $90 with a bank credit equivalent to $90. This bank credit is basically an IOU that only exists in a computer register. By crediting the account with a bank credit of $90, the total currency in the system increases to $190. $100 from the customer and $90 in the form of a bank credit from the bank. This is how banks create currency out of thin air to expand the currency supply. Under the fractional reserve banking system, an initial deposit of $10,000 in a bank with a 10% fractional reserve ratio can be used to create up to $100,000 worth of currency. This process grants banks access to more credit, but it also injects more currency into the economy, resulting in the rise of prices, commonly known as inflation. This type of currency is destructive to the economy because it is based on debt. All debts are parasitic, meaning that they behave like parasites. Consequently, as the level of debt increases, more life force is needed to support the economy, so it does not collapse and die. This means that people will have to work harder so they can create more currency, flow of life force, to sustain the economy. Otherwise, the parasitic debt will suck the life energy of the economy until there is nothing left, causing it to collapse and die. Remember that the main cause of inflation is an expansion of the currency supply. In other words, printing more money is the main cause of inflation. The destructive power of inflation is one of the reasons that Bitcoin was created and launched in January 2009. Bitcoin is the most effective cryptocurrency for destroying the power of inflation and fractional reserve banking because it is deflationary, has a fixed supply of 21 million, and runs on a decentralized network that is not controlled by anyone. In addition, it has never been hacked and is very resilient to destruction and censorship. Because of Bitcoin's features, no government, bank, or central authority can devalue it by creating more of it. According to Investopedia, as of December 22, 2024, 19.9 million Bitcoins have been mined, leaving about 1.1 million Bitcoins yet to be mined. After all 21 million Bitcoins are mined, no new Bitcoins can be issued. Because of Bitcoin's fixed supply and deflationary feature, which is known as Bitcoin halving, many investors use it as a strong hedge against inflation. Let's visit Bitcoin Magazine Pro to learn more about Bitcoin halving. A Bitcoin halving event occurs every 4 years when the reward for mining new Bitcoin blocks is cut in half. This means that during a Bitcoin halving event, the rewards for network defenders are reduced by 50%, directly impacting the rate of new Bitcoins entering circulation. As the block rewards decrease, the rate of new Bitcoin creation slows, leading to increased scarcity. The chart effectively conveys this by showing the diminishing size of block rewards, emphasizing the limited and decreasing supply of new Bitcoins. Understanding how these reductions correlate with scarcity helps to grasp why Bitcoin's value proposition as a deflationary asset strengthens over time. With each halving, the reduced supply growth makes existing Bitcoins more scarce, potentially driving higher demand and increased prices. Here's a chart of Bitcoin halving events. Bitcoin was launched in January 3rd, 2009, and at that time the block reward per block was 50 Bitcoin. After the first halving, it went down to 25 Bitcoin per block. The second halving, it went down to 12.5 per block. The third halving went down to 6.25, and then the most recent halving, which occurred on April 2024, it dropped, the block went down to 3.125. So the Bitcoin block reward has dropped significantly, and this makes Bitcoin more scarce. It makes it deflationary. Note that Bitcoin is not the only cryptocurrency that has a fixed supply. Examples of some cryptocurrency with a fixed supply are Cardano, Chainlink, XRP, Avalanche, and Litecoin. These types of cryptocurrencies are attractive to investors because they are more resistant to inflation. A fixed supply creates a scarce asset and prevents devaluation through overissuance. This is the opposite of fiat currency, where central banks can print money like crazy, causing inflation. Thank you for watching my video to the end. If you enjoyed this video, I encourage you to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you again for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.